Done. We are recording, everybody. Keely, awesome. Thanks for the introduction. As always, it's a pleasure to be here, and it is just super cool to be introduced by you. I love your commitment. I love your dedication. I love your conviction when it comes to Renatus and being an entrepreneur and just, just doing everything you do for, people don't know how much work you do in leadership and in our service community over here in Arizona and Scottsdale. And I just greatly appreciate it. You're loved by all. I promise you that. So thanks for the wonderful introduction. It's awesome. All right, folks, welcome. I was on a call yesterday, which I'm typically on every call, but I thought it was fantastic with Michael. We are at 65. I did text my team, so feel free to text your team and remind them we are getting started. I think yesterday we were at 108 people or something like that. It was pretty powerful. And there was a lot of great questions. So, I too always want to encourage you guys to ask any questions. So let's see, I'm going to put my cell phone in there for you guys, 760-533-3141. So we've got the chat. I'll go to video so you guys at least can appreciate a little bit more of a, I don't know what it would call, but that way you guys can see. So let's see, speaker view. I don't want that. We'll go that way. So yeah, if you guys, I've got the chat up if you guys want to chat. And obviously I've got a training, some topics I want to talk about. But if I'll tell you the questions that you guys asked yesterday and last week with Dane Clark as well, just really moves the conversation and really gets some specific training that helps you guys out, because most likely if there's something that's on your mind when it comes to, some specifics that you're experiencing with inviting guests or getting guests to show up or following up with guests or closing guests or whatever, then I think a lot of other people are experiencing the same thing. In fact, we all do. It's not just you. It's us as leaders as well. It's a constant variable that we have, which is the human that we're dealing with. So there's not too many objections that we all don't experience, and all of us just handle it different ways. Michael has a very positive, abundant mindset approach to any objection, right? Including not having money or, I don't have the time and let me think about it was just an awesome rebuttal to let me think about it. So anyway, if you guys have questions, thoughts, comments that you want to chime in on, you can take yourself off mute. I think you have to star 6 to unmute yourself, and you can always chat it in the chat room too. I was thinking about what I was going to train on today, and I have a little bit different background with me. If you see today, if you're looking at the video. And the reason for that is I am in California today. I'm actually going to go back today. I got to get some work done. I got 3 real estate closings this week. Hopefully, they've all had their creative issues, which I'm going to talk about. Their issues with their inspections and things like that. Unbelievable. So I'm selling them on closings are on the flip side, right? So I'll be closing on 3 different properties. All on the 19th, believe it or not, I think. And if it all goes well, these 3 properties should net. Again, these results aren't typical. I have to remember to say that. Anyway, the nets are really good. I think one of them is going to net 25,000. One of them is going to net 35,000, and one will net maybe 40 or so. So, my take on those is roughly $50,000, give or take. So just a really powerful opportunity. But so that's why I do have to go home and get some stuff done. But I wanted to tell you guys, so I'm out in California, and some of you have heard this story, but I was thinking about how, obviously the main thing that we do is relate this to marketing, and that this is a marketing training. And real estate, obviously, it just coincides with with the marketing, right? It's the reason we get started typically in Renatus. It's the reason that we're doing this. When we think about real estate, we think about time freedom. We think about, large paychecks. We think about passive income and all the things that real estate can do for us, creating wealth through equity and appreciation, tax deductions and things like that to help save some of the money that we make. So a couple of things that I was thinking about when I'm here is, number one, like if there's times when, and it's totally understandable, if there's times when you struggle with it, right? You struggle with the marketing, you struggle with, and I shouldn't say struggle because it's kind of a negative word, but let's just say you doubt. Let's just say you doubt your ability, you doubt the people's ability to fund, you doubt the ability to close, right? And you don't doubt the system, you don't doubt Renatus, you're not even necessarily doubting yourself, but perhaps you're just, your belief is not fully there all the time, especially when, when there's a no, when people don't show up, when the part of Renatus system plays itself out over and over again, and you're giving it the work, right? And so, when it's easy, as we talk about all the time, that life gets in the way, and when we kind of have a human nature expectation of something, like we know that if we go to work, we're going to get paid, right? We know that if we go work with our kids, if we go to an event, we're going to get a certain satisfaction out of it. If we go to dinner or watch a football game on the weekend, albeit maybe you don't like the result like I didn't this weekend, we're going to at least get the satisfaction of enjoying the game, hanging out with friends, relaxing, and all of those things. When we go to a Renatus event, when we enter into our Renatus business, the result is not always guaranteed. In fact, it's never guaranteed, right? And a lot of times the result in the beginning, even in the beginning, when I say beginning, I don't mean if you haven't been here for a year, as Michael said, he can see people on this call that were, been here for a couple of years, right? And so even if the beginning of your beginning means the beginning of the new day, you reborn, you rebirth yourself, and you start your marketing again, you've taken a time off for a while, whatever the case is, it doesn't always play out the way you'd hope. And so that satisfaction isn't there. And so the more that we know that we're not going to get that satisfaction sometimes, the easier it is to not do it, and or to do it less. And it makes sense. It's just human nature, right? So that's where, the tough get tougher, right? And that's where you'll hear Michael say, that's the best, right? You'll hear the cliche of, so what next? You'll hear you're one no closer to a yes. Easier said than believed, right? Easier said than believed. And especially when you've had one step closer to yes, 50 different times or 60 or 100 or whatever, and it's been warm market. You've had 20 warm market people show up. The ratio should be 25% of those people enroll, and they don't. So here's the why. And then we'll do a little how, right? But the why is this. Now, I'm on vacation, if you will. I don't know if vacation is what we would call it, but I'm able to come out to California at a time that I choose. And so now don't get me wrong, like I had work to do while I was here. I text and I get on a little couple emails. I had some numbers to do and work with an agent and a partner and things like that on a Binzer, which are inspection reports for some deals. Obviously, I had students that were going to the Super Saturday. I had to book meetings for them tomorrow on Wednesday, one-on-ones. I had guests that were at the Thursday night and the property tour and so on and so forth. So I've been texting them to set up one-on-one follow-ups when I get back. So there's things that I can do, but here's what I'm getting at is that, like, if you had a choice, would you choose to be able to work from remotely from where you want to be, or would you choose to continue to work? Now, I'm not saying that your job is bad or anything like that. And a lot of people, my dad included, right? You always hear me say that they love their job, but ultimately we want some time freedom. And let me give you an example. So, we were with some friends this weekend, and one of my friends, one of them is in Renatus on my team, and she loves it and she works hard at it. And, but they both work, right? They both work a full-time job, and, they had to leave Sunday, and they had a debate on what Monday was going to look like. And, which is fine. I mean, because they know it's not going to be that way forever, because they're working on this business. Right. But, there was conflict. There was conflict on when to leave, right? He's a huge Chicago Bears fan. So we were watching the Chicago Bears game, which is an amazing game, by the way. And then, was he going to leave at halftime? Waited, then he would get home later. And so, I believe that he may even made a decision on whether or not to take an extra day off have to use one of his vacation days on Monday, right? And then, she had to definitely get up early and work. Had a commitment in the morning for a different work that she does as well. And so had she thought about, staying an extra day, then she could have got a sub for that work and stuff like that. So it's a constant, right? It's a constant battle. And so those are just everyday normal things that you have to deal with on weekends, long weekends, when it comes to kids events, extracurricular activities that come up. And there's a work to consider. There's someone else telling you and dictating you what you do, because if you don't, not only would you lose pay, right, but you could lose your job. And that's not necessarily a good thing unless you plan it properly, right? So here's the why, you guys, is that, and even if you're retired or you're a student or whatever the case is in your life, if you're not independently wealthy, whatever that means to you, you have enough money coming in to cover all of your living expenses, depending on what level of living you want to do. And if you choose to increase your living expenses by having a more extravagant life or having, living in a more expensive part of the area, then do you have enough money to cover that, right? So if you're not independently wealthy, then you have to rely on this job, right? And so Renatus provides this opportunity to really alleviate that. At the bare minimum, it can supplement it very well in the interim while you're getting ready to leave the job, right? You're not leaving the job tomorrow just because you started Renatus, and not because you have made your first $10,000 sale or anything like that. But as you start to build a team and have some residual, as you start to create some passive income through real estate, which realistically is a few-year program, right? It doesn't take a long time with the commitment as you get going and you don't ever learn to quit. So what I'm getting at is the why. The reason we're doing this is, there's a lot to be said for the ability to come out and go on a trip and get work done and get paid and kind of dictate what you want to do with your time. Fortunately for my wife and I, we're at our place here in Solana Beach, and based on the education, you've heard the story, and my wife's desire to, as things started to turn around for us in 2013 and 14 and 15, and we were out of most of our debt, a lot of our debt, and it was time that we were working pretty hard to get where we needed to get to through the Renatus systems and real estate. And, an opportunity came for us to start looking at a place in California. And so we were fortunate enough to buy this property. The story is pretty amazing. We were able to get owner financing on it. This property has gone up by over $250,000 in equity over the last 4 years, and it rents out as a nightly rental. We're able to come here and stay, and and block out time and really enjoy it. It's less than a mile from the beach, and it's right by the Del Mar Fairgrounds. We didn't do much research this time. We should have, because they had a pretty major concert, like a Woodstock type concert at Del Mar this weekend at the fairgrounds called Kaboo, which was absolutely sick. Mumford & Sons and Snoop Dogg, and I mean the lineup was insane. Duran Duran, I mean it was crazy. But there was people everywhere. It was an awesome time. So, but it was sold out. We ended up not going. We had other things going on, but so we're out here. We drive out. I get some work done in the car, and then we're doing a few things. We're looking to improve the property. Did a little inventory on what needed to be done and what needed to be fixed and what needs to be replaced and what new equipment we can do, new cosmetics we can do, and new furniture we can do for the property. And then, we spent most of the day yesterday looking at new property, right? Or not most of the day, I guess half the day looking at new property and looking at the opportunity for us to move to a beach house, right? And what they run. And, look at properties that are just overlooking the beach for, $1.2 million, right? And the opportunity is there when with the system. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the whole story, but the most important thing, and what I think what I'm trying to get at is we don't always know. Like I didn't know. I knew what I wanted, kind of. I knew what it was possible, but we don't always know what's probable, right? And so when we're on this phone and we think about, or this webinar, and we're at meetings and stuff, and we hear some of the stories of what Michael buying some land and John O'Neill selling a house for 190 grand and splitting a lot, and just all the crazy stories. Nate Lambert making $143,000 in a month. They just, and these are just some, you guys, obviously there's Dane Clark, the numbers he's doing, everybody, all you guys that are doing just great things. Keep the goal in mind of what it is you're trying to do, because I tell you, if you know Bob and what he's about, even if you don't know him personally, if you haven't met him or if you haven't spent a lot of time with him, there's one thing I know, is that he believes in the system so much, he's willing to give his entire life for it. And what I mean by that is, like, he knows that it works. He knows that if people do the work and they follow the system and they invite people and then they learn while they're inviting, right? So they earn while they learn. They earn through inviting, and they learn the education first. And then they go out and they apply the education through their coaching calls, through their experiences with the community. In due time, in a relatively short period of time, success will happen, and folks will be able to perhaps quit their job and dive into Renatus and into real estate full time. And when you do that, the doors open up, right? And you guys are already experiencing this anyway, but we don't necessarily realize that you could buy a beach house. You don't necessarily realize, especially you guys, like if you think about where I was in 2000, you guys know my story. So, and we all have similar stories, right? With some sort of,
Bill, we lost your sound. You muted yourself.
That's cool. I did hit the button. Like we don't necessarily, like, we know real estate's there and we know the opportunities there, but we don't know necessarily the possibility of owning whatever it is you want to own. Like maybe, for example, it's Raphael and his Mercedes. Like he knows that it's there. He knows he's going to get it. He believes that Renatus is the way to get it. And so, but it's the true belief. And like it's not a material thing. So don't get me wrong, but I think you guys are following me and you're understanding what I'm trying to say is that we sometimes, since we haven't experienced it, right? Since we don't know what it feels like, tastes like, looks like, we can only imagine. And when we imagine or we compare, then it's not as tangible, right? That's why these dream boards and your goals and re-looking at them and things like that are constantly have to be reviewed, right? So you can keep it in the forefront of your mind. So it becomes your unconscious, what is it? Conscious, unconscious, whatever. So it's the number 4. And so what happens is when life gets in the way, which it just does, you know what I mean? Even getting to meetings, even sometimes, talking to someone 3-foot rule or collecting information or thinking about calling a friend or a family member up about it, right? We tend to not do it. And it's over time, it becomes less real to us, less obtainable that it's going to work. And so I know what I was saying when I muted out. So if you think about what's here is that truly Bob has put this together and has 100% belief in what is possible. And that's why there are people experiencing what he sees. What he knows, though, is there's not enough. There's not enough people on the pack. There's not enough people on the pit. There's not enough people on stage. There needs to be more. And he wants more. And he desires tens and hundreds of thousands more, right? And that's all you. Like, we're in the infant stages of this, right? We are in the beginning of the new beginning. This company started in what we would call a recession, right? What you would call a depression. And it started when real estate was not a desirable commodity. And yet it's come out, and now the economy has changed and real estate has changed and the markets have changed and it's booming. And now's the time. Like, today is the day. Like, what's the thing? Today, not tomorrow. Like, it's now to reach out to people. It's like a perfect storm. Everything is set up for you guys to succeed with your clients because money is available. Equity is in people's homes. Retirement accounts are abundant again. People want real estate. They know real estate is good, right? There's not a negative tonality around real estate like there was in the past. And so, and they have access to funding. You've got to just continue to look for the right people. And you've got to have that. And so I'm just, these things are not the how. These things are just simply the information that you all know, right? But on the why, what I'm talking about is when we look at whatever it is that you choose that you want, it's possible. So I tell you, like, for example, and then I'll go, remember, you guys, if you have questions or thoughts about anything, whether it's pertaining to this or not, you know that you can jump out and shout it out and I'll work with you on it. What's funny is that, and I probably tell this every once in a while, but when I tell the story, so this property, for example, it wasn't my idea. We knew we wanted to go move to California, or not move, but get a place. And my wife was looking, she got up and just started looking. And she, it wasn't just one day, but it was days in a row or whatever it was. And she'd been looking at different properties online, on Zillow, on Realtor.com, whatever it was, and just looking. And she's like, hey, let's make some calls. Let's do this. And I remember she's like, I really want to get a place in California. This is her. I want to get a place in California that we can go to, so we can spend some time out of the heat in California and spend more time there. She's like, we're not getting any younger, and this was 5 years ago, and we're not getting any younger. I don't want to wait till we have the money. I want to make things happen. And so, I won't tell the whole story there, but, we made the call and I'm glad that I did. It worked out. We were able to get a deal where I was thinking to myself, you guys, right? I'm thinking, oh, I've got to do some marketing, and I've got to look for, some people that are distressed, and I got to get some boots on the ground in California. And I might have to go out there, and, I might have to, talk to a realtor to get me some leads, and, talk to a couple wholesalers I know in California, whatever it was, right? This is my mindset based on my education and what my experience has been, right? And her experience was like, you know what, let's just go after it. Let's just do it. We don't have to get ready. We can just do this. And so, literally, she was very adamant about it. And so I was like, okay, let's just do it. Let's just make a couple calls. So we did. And, you don't have to get ready. Sometimes you can just do it, and you can just call someone up, and you can just invite them, and you can just see what the results will be. So, so you don't get if you don't ask, and you hear that all the time. And so we did. We asked for certain terms, and we asked for a certain down payment, and we wanted what we wanted based on what we were. We got an inspection period, and we drove out here, and we checked out the property. And we got the property. We got the property for very little out of pocket, $25,000 for a beach house, right? That's less than a mile from the beach, right by Dog Beach. The location is phenomenal in Solana Beach, right? We love Solana Beach. And here's what we did. You know what it was from? Is we had taken a trip a couple of years before that, and we had stayed in Solana Beach. We'd never stayed in Solana Beach. I lived in San Diego for 7 years, and Solana Beach was not one of my go-to places. And so when we stayed in Solana Beach, we just loved it, and she loved it. And so that became the place that she wanted to go, and sure enough, it came to fruition, right? And now everybody keeps doing that. Everybody, you have this, I don't know, this thought that you would eventually get something because you're an entrepreneur, and so you know that the sky's the limit. You know that you have a vehicle that can get you more than you are accustomed to, that you have goals of setting, making whatever dollars per year, having whatever real estate, and eventually you'll have that thing that you think about. And so we don't always know the direction. We don't always know how it's going to play out, but it's a goal. And so for us, for me, I've spent a lot of time in California, and being on the beach is one of those things that is that for us, like, right, is literally being able to just either open up your windows, because we don't have a beach view. Like, I can't see the ocean from this property. We're close to it, but I can't see it. There's a hill in the way, and we're almost a mile from the beach. So we are west of the 5, which I like, and that's what we wanted. But again, we can easily walk to the beach and stuff like that, but it's still longer. But I'm talking about open up your door, walk out on the sand. I'm talking about, for me, it's open up the windows. For us, seeing the ocean, hearing the ocean at nighttime, that kind of thing, right? And so when we think about that, we know that it's a lot, right? It's something down the road. But when you take action, right, you've got yourself some education. You own the best education in the country. You have the opportunity to really dive into it and study it. You have the opportunity to ask questions about it. You have the opportunity to understand it thoroughly through other people's experiences, whether you've done the work or not before yet. You can still get to a point where you don't have to make mistakes. You can start to make your first or second or third deals. So here's what I'm saying is that, we may or may not buy the exact place up on the beach. But even if we move up to these couple places I was telling you about that we were looking at, even last night when we were walking in Del Mar, had the dog, went and watched the sunset, and we're walking on the beach, walking on the railroad tracks, going to the little restaurants and having a happy hour and stuff like that. And it's just awesome, right? And we're talking about, even the next one could be the next step up. So by the time we're 55, instead of 75, right? We even looked in, and there was some people sitting there and like, I just don't want to be 75 when we get to enjoy the house on the beach. So there has to be action, right? And there has to be a vehicle, which we have, and an action that you have to take. And so we may be able to buy a price, and now with the 1031 exchange class, you guys, and you learn to, create equity, sell at the right time, 1031, we can move it into another property. And then maybe 3 more years or 4 more years, we do the same thing again. We get a little more equity. We use the Airbnb to pay down the mortgage, and boom, all of a sudden we're in a $2-3 million property in just a short period of time, which is exactly what we're looking for, right? And so I guess on the how, as I move forward here, is that everybody hears about the why. And I'm touching on this just because I'm just experiencing it. And when I experience it, it makes it easier for me to talk to you guys about it. So, this is just an experience that it's not, I know a guy who's got a $6 million house on the beach, and he was been in real estate a couple decades, and, it's a great story. It's not that, right? Yeah, we're not talking about that, but it's attainable. This for us was a big deal. And then, moving up to this next level is a big deal. And it's possible. And so, when you start to think about, go back to the simplicity of this, to the business, the marketing business, the ability for you to change your life and change somebody else's life. You can't change your life if you're not changing someone else's life in the Renata system, right? In the marketing. And so, we allow, if we don't have, a real sense of what that why is, and I don't mean it being the material thing. I just mean, like the ability to experience whatever it is you want to experience, whether it's not having to call in on Monday, not having to go back to work on Monday, not having to, having a little bit more. Now, don't get me wrong, folks. I work a lot. In fact, I need to work on it. But my work is fairly easy. It's not labor intensive, and it's on my terms most of the time, right? I can choose to work and put the phone down and not rely or call back when I want most of the time, right? So whatever it is that's driving you, if you spend a little time remembering that, then when life gets in the way, and when work gets in the way, and when you're faced with decisions on whether or not to go watch a game on a Saturday instead of go to an event, or to stay home because you're tired instead of go to an event, or to not go do the follow-up like you talked about with Michael yesterday, right? When you choose not to do the follow-up by yourself because you don't know how, or it could not go well, or whatever the case is, it's okay. Then you can go, you know what? If it's this type of lifestyle that I choose, that I want, if I want this sort of asset, if I want to have this sort of time freedom, then these are the little things that I have to do, right? And Michael said it yesterday, the more you do it, the easier it's going to get, right? And he's exactly right. I mean, if there's no reason that anyone on this call can't do a one-on-one, a mini epic, or 5 pillars, based on the number of times you guys have seen it. I think his training yesterday was phenomenal. And so those are the little things that the how. We'll get into the how here. And remember, if you guys have any questions and you want to come off mute or you want to chat in, it's fine. So one of the things that I remember when I was starting and I was a part of this in the beginning is, and I too had great aspirations, right? Of just being, shooting to the top right away. I thought, I'm going to kill it. I'm going to be great. And that wasn't the case, but I will tell you on both sides of the coin, on the marketing and the real estate, one of the opportunities one of the things that I took advantage of was I was fortunate enough not to have disbelief. So it was almost like I didn't know any better. When folks were telling me that they were making money in the marketing and that, they invited students and that was a way to make extra income when I needed to learn how to do that, I just did it, right? So I believed them. And whether or not, even when people got up and walked out of the meeting, even when people didn't show up, even when, like there was never a time when I was talking to people, especially warm market. That's how I started out, was warm market in 2008. Even when talking to people, I didn't have a doubt, right? I didn't doubt what I was saying wasn't true. You know, when I was talking about the real estate education, I didn't even have experience of closing any deals yet, just the one deal. And I was just telling people based on what I was hearing. I was there, so I witnessed it at the events and with the people that were there, and they were telling me their successes. So I was able to tell other people their successes, and I was able to tell other people what's going to be possible. And when people said, "Are you doing this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm totally doing this. You know, I spent the money, I'm in the education, I'm working on short sales, and I hadn't even closed one yet." Right? Obviously, I was just going off of what I believe. And then when you look at the marketing, and I started to, or look at the real estate, right? And I was watching the education, and people, the instructors were telling me, they're like, if you go knock on doors and you do it this way and you bring this contract and you say these things and you negotiate this way and you don't talk first and you do these things, then this is the result you get, right? If you do let the numbers talk and you don't get emotionally involved, if you watch our program here and you watch this education, we're going to tell you exactly what to do to fix up the house. Don't paint the front, don't paint the whole house, just paint the front. Whatever it was, I would just do it. Like, I wasn't like, I don't think I'm going to do that. That doesn't really work. That sounds stupid to me. Or I just don't know if I really believe that. Or, I've never thought that would be possible. None of these things are going through my mind. Just took it in and just did what they said. Right. And so on the house side of things, if you can think back at any doubt that you have in the future and now, and I know you don't doubt Renatus, or maybe you doubt some of your own ability. Maybe you doubt some people that you're inviting. It's easy to doubt other people, right? Blame them, and that's fine. But if you think back and you look at the integrity of Bob Snyder, and you look at what he's created and what he's given to it, right? And what he continues to give to it. When you think about that, then you know that it's absolutely 100% real. It's 100% viable. It's 100% going to work. Like he's stamping his name, his family's name on this product, and he backs it and supports it. He supports it so much that he's hired 2 in-house attorneys to defend it against all evil out there that is somebody trying to shut us down for non-compliance and for being a business opportunity and for being some sort of MLM and all that crap that it's not, right? So he also defends it financially. He defends the efforts of everybody that's put in for Helios, right? And he's come out publicly and shamed himself, and then he's regrouped and he's tried to make it happen again, and he's continuing. He's not quitting. He's not giving up. It's going to be the greatest software system that could sustain us for years, right? And so, then it's so important to him that his family is a part of it. But he didn't force his family into it, but his family chose it because they know the value and they see the value and they're a product of the product and they're working in the business, right? And so when you look at all this stuff, you can go back and your belief can go up. And when you're talking to somebody about the opportunity and someone doesn't show up, or somebody, argues against the MLM side of things, and it's, it's that multi-level, or it's, direct sales, or it's, this word of mouth sales, I don't understand it. I don't, that's kind of quirky. The reviews are bad. I don't need education because I can just do it on my, whatever their reason is, whatever their excuse is, whatever their belief is, it's not right. And you can honestly say, you know what, I can understand where you're coming from, but here's why I know that's not true. Right. And then you can literally rely on the exactly what you believe in. You can take an example of something that you know to be true, that you know to be a fact. Maybe it's your work as an engineer. Maybe it's your experience as a mother with a child that's sick. Maybe it's your experience with them as a mother or father when it comes to sports with one of your children, and you've experienced it yourself, and you've known it to be true, and you defend it to the death, right? This is that, right? You can rely on Bob's belief to defend this to the death, so until your belief becomes like his. And so going back to the whole beginning of this, what time are we at? 7:49. All right, cool. Here's the thing. So the only thing I'm trying to accomplish here today is that fortunately, fortunately a couple things happen. Number one is I found Renatus, right? Number two is I dove into the education. In fact, if you remember, folks, I was forced to watch the education live. You guys don't have that luxury. It was a luxury. Like it was a devil, or it was not a devil. It was a problem, and it was still a blessing, because we only had the education once a week, every couple months to 3 months. So we had to go all the time. The good news is we had to go and watch it. If we didn't go and watch it, we didn't get our money's worth. So, so with that being said, you have to force yourself to watch the education, because someone's not going to be there to do it. Your hand's not forced to watch it live. You can watch it 24 hours a day whenever you want. So fortunately for me, I was able to get in the system and watch the education. The next thing I was able to do is I'm fortunate enough that, we had a common goal to be out to California. And I'm fortunate that Sherry decided to not wait for me to do it my way, wait for me to get my boots on the ground and get to a position financially where then I could think that we could afford a place in California and all these things. She just decided to take some action. And we decided to do it together. And the point to that is that if there's something that you guys, that means something to you, whether it's you're relieving yourself of your job, being able to, say goodbye to your job, whether it's, having your first Airbnb, whether it's a certain vehicle, or whether it's just a certain time freedom, or maybe it's just quitting your second job. Maybe it's, who knows, whatever that is, you guys, then as I look at the names on this board, the opportunity is that the marketing, oh my God, my phone, the marketing can absolutely create an opportunity for you to get started. You study and earn while you're learning. But when we don't go out and talk to people about it, and we're concerned more about what we're going to look like, more about what they're going to say, more about when they say no, and how we're going to overcome that objection, and not even that we care that we would, not even that yeah, Sherry, I'll put my number there again. Not even that 760-533-3141. Not even that, like I know all of you wouldn't be concerned even if everybody said no, but I just mean the idea of doing the little things that we have to do. Seeing the people starts there, right? And then telling the story. If you can, it goes back to this belief, is that when that belief goes up, you won't stop, because it'll be about, it can be about what's in it for you. It can be about what you want the most. And if you keep that in the front of your mind, whatever it is you desire, paying for your kids' college with cash or with an asset that they have in their own retirement or their own college fund, and they own a rental, whatever it is that you want, it's possible. And when that's possible and you believe that, then talking to people won't be an issue. And getting someone to say no, it won't matter. You won't have an emotional attachment to it. And you'll want to be better. You'll want to be better at following up. You'll want to be better at doing one-on-ones. You'll want to be better at inviting people. You'll want to be better at building events and telling the story, because the better you are, the faster it's going to happen for you, right? You're changing other people's lives, but your life is going to change. your life will be better. And so the experience that I'm trying to share with you guys is that I didn't set out 10 years ago to be able to, come out to California and have time, freedom to, work and then work from here and be able to, to close deals in Arizona and be out on the beach and have a opportunity to even buy a place on the beach, even closer, right on the beach, right? However, it wasn't not in my mind, right? It wasn't not in my mind to have the car I wanted. It wasn't not in my mind to have time freedom. It wasn't not in my mind to create wealth and to have net worth and to have property and to have multiple property that we can go to and spend time at. Though it was there, and the experience is real. The experience for you guys to have it is totally real, and there's no better vehicle than this to do it. All right, I've been talking, and I only got one comment. Let's see, 7:54. So does anybody have any thoughts or comments or questions on that before we wrap up? I hope that made sense. I had an idea of what it is I wanted to convey today, and I hope the how meant, like, I didn't talk specifics on how you talk to somebody, but I guess the how is what I meant by the how is if the why is, and not your typical why, like what's your why? I'm not talking about digging down deep spiritually and finding your why and what motivates you every day. That's a different thing. It's similar to that. I'm just talking about almost a want, almost a dream, a possibility of what's possible. And if you keep that in mind, and then if you can go to some of the experiences of some of the people I named, or anybody that you look up to in this company on the marketing side or the real estate side, all the way up to Bob Snyder, and you can rely on their success and their belief, then I believe the how part will be you being able to speak to people more often. And the time when you have a choice, when you have a decision to make on whether it's go to a meeting, call somebody up, follow up with somebody, do any money-making activity that Renatus offers you, studying your education even, right? Not even as far as making an offer, but just studying and taking notes and getting on Gavin McCaleb's Tuesday night coaching call, or calling your 5-star for advice, or anything that pertains to moving yourself forward in Renatus business and your real estate business simultaneously, or both, or either one. And the choice is to do that or to do what you normally do in your life, which is go to work, drive at a certain time, go to a kid's event, hang out with your buddies, go to a movie, spend time with family. I'm not telling you not to do any of those things, but you understand what I'm saying. When you don't change the way that your habits are, what is easier and more comfortable, what gets you a direct result, what gives you the human response that you need as a human, which is that instant gratification of being satisfied that you're going to get paid going to work. You're going to be satisfied that you have that enjoyment with your family. That's fine, but you're going to stay there. You'll stay there if you don't make a decision more often than not to go to your Renatus business and be the entrepreneur that you're trying to be more often than not in the beginning, so that you don't have to even make those choices in the end. You're awesome. Habits, Keely says habits are vital. The proper habits, this ties up perfectly with the quote of the day that I picked. I totally agree, Keely. You're absolutely right. All right, you guys. I got top of the hour. So I got anybody, if you don't have anything, I got anybody else got questions, comments, thoughts? Yeah.
Hi, Bill. I just want to thank you for everything that you've been doing. It has helped me a lot throughout this process that I'm working on. And as I am listening to you from now on, what I have been doing is I still listen to you, and it keeps me motivated, and I reach out to my contacts.
Well, that's awesome to hear. That's all it takes, Sandra, and the work will pay off. It's so important. And that's awesome. You know, that was the same way. That's exactly what I did, Sandra, back when I started too. And even my first several years is, you know, as bad as it was financially for me, it was struggling on a lot of different Monday nights webinar back then was what I had. We didn't have a call like this. So Monday night's webinar. And then by Thursday, I was so, you know, mad at the world as well. And I would go to Thursday night's meeting, and Thursday night would inspire me. I'd be mad when I get there. I'd be broke when I got there, but I tell you, I'd be inspired when I left. And so that's awesome that you guys get on this call. And then, you know, like I said, it rolls you perfect, Sandra. It rolls you right into the opportunity to contacting your contacts. Thank you, Lee. See you tomorrow. Lisa,
Thank you.
you're awesome. Yeah. Noreen, you're welcome. You're right. We do. Just do it. Yep. All right, you guys. Cool. Well, I appreciate everybody on the phone. I appreciate you listening to me. I appreciate you participating. I appreciate you being here. I love the Renaissance Nation. I love you guys. I appreciate the opportunity that Michael and Christian gave me to be on this call. I look forward to the call every week with everybody that is on the call, both training and not, and participating. So thanks, everybody. I'll end the call, and I hope you guys make it a great Tuesday. Take it easy. You're welcome, Alan. You're welcome too, man. Thanks for your time. All right, folks. Have a good day. I'll see you.